Hi, and thank you for joining me for today's process video. And today I had to grab my Discover and Create from the gorgeous Vicki Boutin to design a layout using pictures of Mum and Dad from this Saturday. So you can see there I cut a circle. It was about 8.5 inches, 8.25 inches, and I'm just grabbing my white scraps now from the little envelope that I keep in the file folder, if you like, on my desk. And you can see here I'm just starting to trim those down, and I'm going to layer these all the way down the circle, some slightly wonky, some straight, not really worrying too much about how they land on the page, and roughing up the edges, just curling them up with my fingers. So I had to pull out Discover and Create this week for this layout today. It's Tuesday evening and this will be going up Wednesday morning, because this weekend Jackie Ashton and myself as Nestbox Kits and Events hosted a whole weekend of workshops by Vicki Boutin here in Birmingham, and it was the most incredible experience. She really is our crafting Yoda, as she calls herself. She was truly amazing. She's so gracious, and it really was a wonderful weekend. But Discover and Create was one of the collections I took with me for the shop, and it sold really well, and I was telling everybody who bought it, it's one of my absolute favourite collections from her. I think because of all the blues and greys in the collection and the muted tones, it just really suits my aesthetic. So these photos were taken on Saturday. It was my dad's 81st birthday, and sadly I couldn't be there to celebrate with him, just the way the dates fell. So my daughter sent me these photos of them enjoying the sunshine after they'd been out for a lovely Italian meal in Warrington. And I thought it would be only too fitting to scrap this using one of my favourite Vicki Boutin collections. So I'm just going down that circle slowly, adding these strips of paper. They're all strips that have been cut off from matting photos or creating backing cards for various things for Hey Little Magpie, and it's great to use up some of those scraps. This would work equally well with scraps of pattern paper, but I just wanted to keep this white and use the green grid paper as my background, and that's been taken from the paper pad from Discover and Create. So I'm just trimming off the edges that went over the edge of that circle, and there you can see the circle now finished. And I'm just deciding whether or not to map the photos, but I decide I do want to map them on some white cardstock. So here we go. They're both 3x4, and as I say, it was Mum and Dad enjoying another glass of wine after their Italian in the garden. They had such a lovely day, and I was really pleased to hear that, albeit a little bit sad that I wasn't here, but I had a lovely weekend anyway. So I'm just adding those white mats, and then I'm going to layer these photos slightly over one another, and then I shall start embellishing. And when I first got this collection, I did pull out the black and white floral paper and one of the other floral papers, and just spent a couple of evenings in front of the telly fussy cutting loads of those florals, and then just put them in a grip seal bag in with the rest of the collection to use at a future date. So this is one of those dates. So that's how the photos are going to sit on the page. I'm going to mount them onto foam just to raise them up above the ruffles in the card, because that creates quite a lot of texture and dimension, so I just wanted them to stand proud of that. Just using 3 foam pads on each photo, and those are the lovely Sticks to 25mm or 1-inch foam pads that you get on a huge roll. We sell them at Hey Little Magpie, or you can buy them direct from Sticks to, and they work brilliantly. So there are the photos down. Now I'm just having a look through the sticker sheets to see if I can find anything. And I do find this beautiful foam sticker with floral clusters. I knew that because they were in the garden, I definitely wanted to use florals. And I quickly decided that I just wanted to use the black and whites and also the blue tones in this collection for this. So I've got that lovely moth or butterfly, which is going to sit roughly up there. It does move around the page a little bit before ending up there. And I tried this little cluster of feathers, but they just weren't going to work today. So here are all those florals that I was mentioning that I cut up. So starting with the black and white ones, first of all this huge one that I'm going to add to the right hand side, and I'm trying to work on a diagonal from top left to bottom right, which is often my favoured way of working. So I start with the black and whites, and then I pull in the blues. You saw me trying one of the yellows there, but I decided that, or orange, I can't remember which colour it was. I quickly decided that I wanted to focus in on the blues, because that's the predominant colour in the photo of Mum with her lovely blue dress on there. So just tucking in the florals that have the edge cut off. That's where they came from, the edge of the pattern paper. I don't waste anything, so I just cut everything out knowing that I can use them as tucking behind pieces, so to speak. And it all works really nicely. So this last flower that I'm adding here really added to that diagonal that I was after, and it's taken it right over the edge of the circle, and that's what I needed, just to make that all as one piece. So now I'm just chopping up some of my foam pads. I was too lazy to go and find the 12mm ones, and just chopping up some of those larger pieces, and I'm going to add foam behind a lot of the leaves and the edges of the flowers, just to lift them up off the page and create dimension. When Vicki was teaching this weekend, she was explaining how she uses a lot of foam pads for shade and light behind things, and it makes perfect sense. So I've tried really hard today not to distress edges, but just use the shade that you get from adding foam to get dimension on the page to create that lovely texture. So still going with cutting these foam pads apart, adding them behind various parts of the florals, and then using glue to stick the centre down solid. And just working methodically from the bottom right hand corner up to the top to make sure I don't miss anything. Just messing with that foam. I probably should have cut some of this out. I'm so sorry. It must be pretty boring watching me stick foam behind florals. So that's the bottom cluster done now, I think, and then I can move on to the top. There's not quite so much to stick down there. And I really love the different tones of white that you've got there, with the white, they almost look like ruffles of the strips of paper, the white cardstock or paper. And then you've got the white tones of these black and white flowers. It's amazing how just adding that little bit of blue into the mix really brightens things up and changes the dynamic of the black and white flowers, really. So almost there now, just sticking that last piece down and fiddling with that moth again, but I decided it's going to go there. And then I wanted to go into the stickers. So I've got these lovely foam stickers, and straight away I spotted the little ladybirds. So I thought they would be a really nice addition to those florals. So just dotting those around and actually using up all of the ladybirds on this layout. And then looking through the papery bits to see what else I can find. And the sticker books in here as well. So first of all, a couple of stickers to add to the left-hand side of Mum's photo. A little label there, and then this larger, I do find a larger sort of bluey coloured label to tuck underneath it. And then I'll just cover up that fishtail banner at the bottom with a little heart in due course. So there's another little heart in that lovely blue again. And here's the gold one that I find to put at the bottom there. And then this orange one is layered up with that blue one. The blue one was getting lost on the green paper, so I decided to add this orange one down there with that. And then on this papery piece, I found the title captured on film, which I just thought would work really nicely at the bottom of the photo of Mum. So I'm going to add that to some scrap white cardstock, just using my Nuvo Deluxe adhesive glue, just to give it some rigidity so that I can add it to foam and add it underneath that photo. So you can see here, and it hangs over the edge slightly, but that's absolutely fine. There's so much else going on the page that will just stay there in the page protector. It'll be fine without a little bit of card at each end. So just trimming off. I didn't do a very good job at cutting it out the first time, so just trimming that off again. And again, cutting my foam pads in half to add behind that. And you'll see here, I think I can use all four, but I'm just short on space, so I put the third one down and then have to move it across a little bit. But because it hadn't been down very long at all, it was absolutely fine. So that's going to go under the photo of Mum. And then on that same sheet, I found a phrase that said, "Find joy in the simple things," and I'm going to pop that down the left-hand side of that photo. And then underneath it, I hadn't realised until I'd glued it down, it says, "And life will always be fulfilling." So I add that white one to the left hand side there, and then the black one that says "and life will always be fulfilling," I do add over those florals. Now it is a little bit lumpy bumpy because I couldn't be bothered to add it to more card, and I may well peel it off and add to card just to add that rigidity and make it more straight. But I don't mind the waviness actually, because of the waves on that circle that it's all sitting on, that the florals are all sitting on and things. It just adds some more movement to the page. So you can see I'm trying it down the right hand side there, but I really don't like it there. I definitely want it underneath that captured on film piece. So I'm just going to use Nuvo Deluxe adhesive again just to glue that down there. So I still felt that I needed a few more scattering pieces around the page. So first of all, I wanted to add my journaling, and that's going to go all the way around the circle just to say where they'd been and who they were with, because it wasn't a full family party on Saturday, sadly. So I just wanted to add the people who were there, and then I'm coming in with my gold Nuvo drops just to add some dots around the page, and then also in the centres of those two large flowers that have the blank centres. I just thought that would look really nice. So just going in carefully and adding, I think it's 6 dots on each floral piece, and then I do add a couple more in that bottom cluster just to finish it off. I just felt that I needed a little bit more down there. And that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for joining me. Do tell me, what's your favourite Vicki Boutin collection? It's really interesting now she's working with 49 and Market, how things are changing. But it's always for the good. Change is always for the good. So I'm excited to see what comes along next. See you soon. Bye.